Okay, so welcome to my spoiler review of the Super Mario Brothers movie. This video is for people who have already seen the Super Mario Brothers 2023 film. So if you have not seen it, check out my non-spoiler review right here on the Geekdom 101, well, the World of Geekdom channel. And if you have seen it, let's talk about the movie in detail. So I'm going to give you a minute to click off the video if you have not seen the film. Okay, let's go ahead and get to the spoiler review for the film, in case you already saw it. So, I really like this movie. I see some people saying that it's not a good movie, but it's still a fun movie. And to me, a fun movie is a good movie. You know what I mean? Super Mario Brothers, without question, is aimed at people who play the game. I said that in my non-spoiler review, and I feel that way. The more Mario games you've played, the more you'll appreciate the Easter eggs. The movie is meant to be nothing but an Easter egg fest, and the story is very simple, but the video game stories are also simple. Like Mario 1, all the early Mario games and even the new ones, they have a very simple story. There's not that much complexity. You know, Princess Peach is in trouble, or someone who Mario cares about is in trouble, he has to go save them. And by going through levels, defeating bosses, and finding objects. That's it. It's not that hard. And this movie tried to add some character to it. I really liked how they showed Mario and Luigi's family. I love how they were having dinner and the mushrooms on the pasta. They're real Italians. I love that Charles Martinet was playing Mario's father. That was a great touch because he is the father of Mario. He is Mario in the video games, and Chris Pratt is just, extra. I love that Mario was playing Kid Icarus in his room. That was a nice touch. Little Star Fox thing there. I might do a whole Easter egg video on this because I felt like it was just so much fun. So much fun, all the Easter eggs and finding them all. Jack Black as Bowser was great. That scene where he was playing the piano, singing songs, and crooning about Princess Peach, that got a lot of laughs in the movie theater, yo. That was so well done, so funny. The wizard like sidekick was also just great, just perfect. I like how when Luigi ends up in the Darklands, it's almost like a tease for Luigi's Mansion, dealing with, the skeleton Koopa Troopas and all that stuff. That was good. And I also like how they were able to incorporate the Kongs, like the Jungle Kingdom. You had Cranky Kong, who's actually, if you really understand the lore, he is actually the original Donkey Kong from the games, but he's also old. We had Mario and Donkey Kong working together in this movie, and that was great because it felt like, because you had them working together, it felt like it was more than just a Mario movie. It felt like it was a crossover event without there actually being a Donkey Kong original, like the solo film, which I'm sure there will be. But it felt good seeing them work together. The Mario Kart sequence, yo, it did feel a little bit shoehorned in. Honestly, it felt like it really didn't belong in the film. And to me, that was one sequence where I thought that they were doing member berries and nostalgia bait a bit too much. You know what I mean? I love Mario Kart, especially Balloon Battle, but that part seemed a bit forced. Oh, we're going to get carts. I like the reference to Diddy Kong Racing, one of the most underrated and forgotten about games of the 64 era. I really hope Nintendo someday makes a new Diddy Kong Racing with the modern sort of graphics. I think that would be a lot of fun. Now everything's pretty much in Mario Kart, but Diddy Kong Racing was great. And they actually showed Diddy Kong. Diddy and Dixie are there. I really enjoyed that, and I really enjoyed the homage to Smash Brothers when Donkey Kong and Mario are fighting. And I'm glad they didn't go too far with the member berries. I thought that Luigi could have done more in the movie. That's a criticism. It's not a big one. I understand that he may get his own film so that he can shine, but Luigi was kind of like he was sort of like the MacGuffin. Like Mario had to go rescue him in order for it to make sense. I heard about the terrible reviews, and I've talked about in this channel how Grace Randolph is one of the worst reviewers ever because she's constantly doing this annoying neo-feminist bullshit, and her political opinions just completely rot her brain. Like her saying shit like Mario and Luigi's relationship seem forced is one of the dumbest things I've ever heard when they're brothers. Like they're brothers. Believe it or not, folks, sometimes siblings get along. I understand that here in the West, with this stupid culture that we're leaning towards, like this individualism, people don't like their own family members. But guess what? In places like Italy, Greece, Latin America, people get really close to their brothers. You understand? So she's an idiot for that. And when she said that Mario rescuing Peach, she didn't like that. It pissed me off because when you actually watch the movie, Peach is a complete badass. You know, she uses the fire and the ice flower. I was marking out over the ice flower and the way it was used. You know, her freezing Bowser up. Again, like it was just a fun movie. It's just a fun time. Like if you like the video games or if you're a kid, you're gonna like the movie. You can't judge this movie and compare it to something that it's not. You know? And back to the Grace thing, what I was trying to say was her like stupid neo-feminist nonsense where Princess Peach was a badass in the movie. And at one point, obviously, Bowser kidnaps her because he wants to marry her. That's been the story since the early Nintendo games. In fact, if you watch the Super Mario Brothers anime, the Japanese one from way back in the 80s, this movie copied a lot from that movie. The plot of that movie, yo, is so similar to this one. Like, there's story beats in both of them. Very, very similar. Go seek out that movie. It's on YouTube. Go seek it out because I guarantee you'll agree with me. It's like a lot of similar. Donkey Kong is not in it. The Kongs are not in that one, but nevertheless, Mario and Luigi are there, and the princess. I like Toad, and I'm glad he got to do something. Although I wish he would have done more. And more like the princess was a badass, like, and she's supposed to be. So then you've got the neo-feminist, like, you know, Grace Randolph. Then you've got the moronic, extreme right, you know, anti-woke crowd. Both of them piss me off because they're two extremes and they're forgetting that A, this is a kid's movie, and B, not everything has to be political, okay? Princess Peach is a badass in the video games. She's the best character to play as in Mario 2. She has the floating ability. She's great in her own solo game. She's not just a damsel in distress. She can be. She can play that role, but she can also fight herself. So if you're looking for girl power that actually makes sense, her character does. Right? But it's not shoved down your throat to where the anti-woke crowd who, anytime they see a woman do anything cool, they all of a sudden scream, woke, woke, woke. And it's such fucking bullshit. I hate people on YouTube who do that shit, yo. I'm sorry, but I can't stand them. It's just really obnoxious. And the other side is, you know, oh, well, Mario should never save a woman. Fuck you. This is based on a video game, dude. And a legendary video game. And lots of different types of video games throughout the years. Sunshine, Mario 64, and there's different stories in each one, but they're very simple. It's a simple story. Also, I was really surprised that the battle actually went to Brooklyn, that they went into the real world through the warp zone. That surprised me. That surprised me that Bowser actually wound up in the real world, in the regular world, you know, the world, like not Mushroom Kingdom. And Mario and Luigi using the stars to clean up everyone was awesome. Perfect way to finish the film. And they grabbed Bowser by his tail and spun him just like in Mario 64. That was great. I really love the sequence with Tanuki Suit Mario and the giant like Bullet Bill. Like that was fun. Like trying to stop the explosion. That was great. I actually love that Tanuki Suit got some love, and you actually saw Mario with the cape in the early TV commercial that was at the beginning of the film, and then the scene where he's like running through the city and it's like a level, like a Mario level, and then he goes to this castle cafe or whatever, like the castle restaurant that's supposed to be the castle of the first movie. They put so much from the video games in this, and that's what they wanted to do. They wanted you to say, oh wow, like that's great, but it wasn't at the cost of the story. It's a really simple story. You know, the movie doesn't have any crazy, you know, thought-provoking moments. These characters are very simple and they're fun. It's a kid's movie, and it's not even a movie that insults the kid's intelligence. It's not. It's genuinely not. It's a movie that was made for Mario fans and for people who grew up with the games. And if you're not one of those people, you're not going to appreciate the film. Point blank, end of story. You know, I liked That I liked how Bowser was shrunk with the mini mushroom. I was wondering during the film if they were going to if they were going to like bring in the Koopa kids and other characters that weren't in this, but I guess for sequels they can do it. Obviously, if you stay for the end credit scene, the post credit scene, you saw Yoshi was teased, and that was great. Like Yoshi being teased was a phenomenal thing, and he was there, and the sequel could be basically Mario World. Oh, and I forgot to mention, I love the Easter egg where they flash back to Mario and Luigi as babies, and the way they looked is exactly how they looked in Yoshi's Island Super Mario World 2, which is a classic game. So you understand, like, there's so many things about this movie that you just fall in love with. Is it a movie that's going to have a lot of replayability? I mean, I guess if you're a kid, maybe it will. I feel like I can watch this movie. It's not super long either. It's barely over an hour and a half, and that's good. Not every movie has to be 2.5 hours. I've said that a million times, and putting more into this would have taken away from any further films they want to do, and maybe even bored the people. You don't want to do that. But nevertheless, it was done well. It was done very, very well, and I love the music. I love how they had so many musical, you know, leitmotifs, I guess you can say, from the games. You had music from Mario 64. You had the GameCube. The GameCube like intro screen was Luigi's ringtone. Like there's so many things about this movie, dude. Like I was trying to fight back my emotions as I'm watching it because I'm hearing and seeing things from my entire life. Like that's the thing. I grew up with Mario. My first Nintendo game was Super Mario Brothers. That was my first Nintendo game when I was like 4 or 5 years old, something around that. And I've played pretty much all of them, going all the way through. I mean, I never actually beat Galaxy 2, but I played through the vast majority of Mario games, so I recognized everything, and it was done very well. There's still more characters that didn't make it, like I mentioned, but they'll be there for the sequel. I might do a video on that. So this was a great freaking movie. Let me know what your favorite Easter egg was down below, and if any criticisms you may have of the film, I'd love to hear it. But subscribe if you are new. Thank you. Take care, and I'll have more this weekend about Star Wars and things like that. So stay tuned. Have a good one.